ANC Chairperson Gwede Mantashe calling on the warring factions in the Free State as the ANC holds its conference there, its provincial conference. Of course, it has not been an easy journey to get to this point. Even yesterday, we saw things coming to a head. So how is today looking? Let's speak to SABC News reporter Makgala Masiteng, who is in the Free State, following, of course, this particular story very closely for us. Makgala, thank you so much for your time this afternoon. Yesterday, as you were standing outside what would have been the venue, we saw some of those who were quite disgruntled, very upset about what was happening. Now, the ANC's national chairperson, Gwede Mantashe, seems to think that things are getting off to a smooth start today, better than yesterday. Is that a sense you're getting from the ground?
Indeed, Bongiwe, that is what we are getting on the ground. Actually, those members, some of them that we were talking to when we were on the N6, just not far from where we are, when we had that scuffle between the police and the delegates. Some of them, I've seen them inside here. They are happy that their issues have been addressed. You would remember that last night they couldn't sleep because they were trying to push through the issue of registration following that delay where we saw the registration process being disrupted, and later on we saw what we saw on the N6 where some of the members who were not happy there, they were addressing or rather voicing their concerns. Later on we understand some of the group was able to meet with the leadership, which is the IPC, as well as the deployees of the National Executive Committee. That's where they were able to resolve some of the issues. But I'm not sure if you can be able to see behind me the groupings, because the IPC spokesperson, Opa Khwamani, did indicate that we will be going to the nominations and also the voting today, because they are trying to make sure that tomorrow they are able to finish with the program so that the president of the party, Cyril Ramaphosa, will come and address and close off this conference. But behind me we can see that already the lobbying groups are discussing, and we have heard that several groups are trying to negotiate so that they can be able to gather in terms of numbers. We know that up to so far we know of the 6 names of people who are vying for the position of the chairperson. I think those are some of the issues that they are discussing behind us, as having 6 people contesting one position wouldn't really make sense when it comes to numbers. But those names being that of the current convener, Xolisi Dukwana, his deputy Ntombela, and then we had the former deputy chairperson of the ANC in the Free State, Thabo Manyoli, who said he's willing to come back and he's willing to stand for that position of being a chairperson. But his lobbying group really is in discussion with that of Vusi Chabalala, I understand, but also they are speaking with the group that is supporting Ntombela. We have seen the ANC Women's League, they have made their intentions that they want they are supporting rather Xolisi Dukwana, of course, unless things change as they negotiate with other groups. But what we know that Women's League is supporting Xolisi Dukwana as well as the ANC Youth League. But the ANC Youth League is kind of divided because we know that Lijoli Puzo is rather preferring to have Ntombela as the chairperson. But as things stand, those lobbying groups are trying to discuss and see if they can be able to support each other as we go into the nomination as well as the voting of the top 5 of the Free State. You would remember that it has been long since this province have really a stable structure, because in 2012 they had a problem, especially when it comes to that conference that was challenged. It went on to the Constitutional Court, but we had the 2017 one also heading to the the courts, and also the 2018 one where they were repeating the one that they did in 2017. But even that of 2018, it was challenged until it got to the Supreme Court of Appeal, where we saw the Supreme Court of Appeal disbanding that leadership. So it's very critical when it comes to making sure that this conference really go by the books. And we saw even yesterday when they were trying to make sure that those groups of people who are not happy, they try to make sure that they negotiate with them, they try to address their issues, is because they said they want this leadership to stand after that history that the province has had since 2012.
And Makgala, I wonder, as you were talking about looking behind you there, I even see that the trees are somehow being blown, a signal of the wind. I wonder if it is also another signal of how intense the battle is likely to be inside. As you talk about the names that have been bandied about, the horse trading that is now happening at the same time, the challenges, as you've just alluded to, that we've seen, of the PECs soon after being being elected, in fact, in that particular province. Let's talk about the part or the role that is still being played or felt on the sidelines of this by the former chair of the ANC, Ace Makgala.
Well, you would remember, Bongiwe, that yesterday when he was appearing at the High Court on that asbestos case, he even had something to say about this conference, where he said that this conference has been rigged. And we had Xolisi Dukwana, whom we know that they used to be allies, but now they don't see eye to eye, saying that actually Makgala, because he has been the chairperson for quite some time, actually he's the longest chairperson in the province of the ANC. Maybe he knows one thing or two about the rigging of the conference. You'll remember that Xolisi Dukwana tried to challenge or contest against Ace Makgala at some point, and then he boycotted the conference. And he has been really part of the group that was dissatisfied with how the conferences have been convened in the province since 2012, actually.
All right, Makgala, let's see then what happens with that nomination process. One is keen to see if they'll narrow down the names, and then, as some have been said to not be meeting the threshold, if they will then be able to meet the threshold then when they are possibly nominated from the floor. So then let's see what happens with that nomination process there, and that is Makgala Masiteng.